what happened to me is I lost a lot of money. I lost a lot of confidence.
In your opinion, what are the economic factors that led to the 2008 housing bubble and crash?
It was a period that we saw high economic growth overall. We had low unemployment, we also had low interest rates, and we were also recovering from the bust of the dot-com era. And so it was kind of a period of high economic growth, but often these factors kind of feed on themselves, and so once housing prices started to go up, they just continue to build.
What market similarities are you seeing in the commercial real estate market now and the 2008 housing market?
We see very low unemployment. We see low interest rates leading up to that period. And we saw strong economic growth. Now, the unique dynamic that we saw this time is the change in consumer behavior, especially because of COVID. And so COVID distorted that demand for housing, and that started to drive up home prices. And then we started to see them overheating about a year ago.
How do you think this upcoming commercial real estate bubble will mirror 2008's housing?
Man, in a way, I think it's going to be totally different because commercial real estate versus residential real estate, commercial real estate is more of a math problem. When I say a math problem, with residential real estate, there's a lot more emotion. People are buying things because there's utility, like they want to go live in a house. There's not as much investment-related transactions to residential as there is for commercial. Commercial is all pretty much an investment. You're not buying a commercial property to live in. And so what's going to happen possibly with commercial is it's really a function of the interest rate change that happened so quickly last year.
It's really similar. The effect of hybrid work had similar but opposite effects on housing and on commercial real estate. So because there's more flexibility in where and how people work, you see people demanding more housing, but then they're not going into the office as much. And so we're seeing vacancy rates have been going up dramatically in city centers. And so, in some areas like San Francisco, it's about 30%. Salt Lake City, it's around 20%. Even in Silicon Valley, which is like the heart of the tech sector, we see vacancy rates around 15 to 20%. So that higher vacancy rate is depressing commercial real estate prices.
We all know the classic answer for all economists is, it depends. What are some of the outcomes you could see that maybe marked as an it depends factor for the crash?
Yep, and you're right, and it does depend. There's a reason we always use that answer, because there's so much unknown. The biggest it depends right now is inflation. And so the inflation has been much higher than historically, and it's been running too hot for 2 years now. And so the Federal Reserve is really worried that inflation is not coming down fast enough. And so if that inflation continues to come in too hot, then the Fed is going to have to go further. They're going to have to raise interest rates more, and they run the risk of pushing the economy into a recession.
We saw a lot of stimulus come into the market through COVID. We saw a Fed that was very slow to respond to inflation at the time that they deemed transitory. And so Fed had to react. Some would say that they've overreacted, but the combination of a lot of stimulus money coming in, and within the last 6 to 9 months, a the most rapid rate rise environment that we've seen in decades, if ever. While there are, I guess, some similarities, I think it's a very, very different time and environment than 2008 and what we're in today.